Good evening to you all. Welcome you all to the another session of Shape of the Future Professional Workshop Series organized by the Electrical and Electronic Engineering Society of University of Peradeniya. I'm Netmi Satsarni, a third year undergraduate of Electrical and Electronic Engineering, University of Peradeniya, and I'll be the moderator for today's session. First and foremost, I hope you all are safe and sound. Without further ado, let me introduce the resource person today. The guest speaker for today's lecture is Engineer Hasita Hewawasam, the founder of ESEC Pro Rhombus Private Limited, Australia. Engineer Hasita received his BSc in Electrical and Electronic Engineering from University of Peradeniya. He received his master's in Electrical and Electronic Engineering in Swinburne University, Australia. He is also a PhD candidate of Federation University, Australia. So it's a real privilege to have you here with us today, sir. And thank you for being here to spend your valuable time in spite of your busy schedule to share knowledge with us. So to begin with, I would like to invite Mr. Praveen Dasanayaku, the President of Electrical and Electronic Engineering Society, University of Peradeniya, to welcome the gathering. Over to you, Mr. Praveen.
Thank you, Lakshmi. Hello, good evening, everybody. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you all to this webinar, which is one of the webinar series, Shape of the Future Professional. First of all, I would like to warmly welcome Engineer Hasita Hewawasam, the resource person of today's webinar. As Nathan mentioned, he is the founder of ESEC Pro Rhombus Private Limited. He also MSc on Electrical and Electronic Engineering from Swinburne University, Australia, and currently is reading for a PhD in Federation University, Australia. So we believe that he is one of the most suitable people to talk on this topic, high study opportunities in Australia and how to build a startup. Next, I would like to warmly welcome Dr. Roshan Goldiadde, the Senior Treasurer and the Advisor of EEES, and also Dr. Parakrama Ekanayaka to this event. Finally, I welcome all the participants who are joining with us today on this occasion. So, building our own startup is a dream that most of us possess, but so many questions come to our mind when thinking about a startup, like how to start, when to start, or will it be a success or a failure? So one of the intentions of today's webinar is to give you some answers to those questions, and the other intention is to give you a proper understanding about the higher study opportunities in Australia, and also to give answers to your problems on that topic as well. So hope you will get the maximum out of this webinar, and there will be a Q&A session at the end of this webinar. So I hope you will also use that to solve your questions without hesitation. So thank you. Over to you, Tentmi.
Thank you. Then my cordial invitation goes to Dr. Parakrama Ekanayaka to give a brief introduction about the guest speaker today. Over to you, sir.
Yes, I hope you can see me. Yeah, actually, I'm really happy to see Hasita here today giving a seminar because Hasita was one of my and Dr. Godliada's first students who actually had a pioneering work in the machine vision side under our supervision. So they were the first group to undertake a machine vision project. So basically, so there was so he's a very significant person in that sense. And then, moreover, he was a very active member of the Robotics Society, participating in Robocon and many other robotics competitions. And actually, he was a member of the first team of participation in Robocon to ever win a game in the Robocon competition. So there's a lot of things. There's a lot of achievements, and then after his graduation, he had the courage and the vision to work as a freelance engineer. And there are interesting stories of his path that I'm sure he will share. He went for seeking a PhD in Australia, and even there you can see that he has started his own startup, which is a huge challenge. And so he has a lot of experience, wonderful experience that he's going to share with you all. And well, thank you, Hasita, for accepting our invitation and taking your time to share your thoughts and experience and give some guidance. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting, sir.
Thank you, sir. As I mentioned before, this workshop series is organized by Electrical and Electronic Engineering Society of University of Peradeniya in order to make you aware about life after graduation, how to build startup, and Australian higher education opportunities supporting to shape the future professional within you. So without further delay, I would like to cordially invite Engineer Hasita Hewawasam to begin the session, and I hope all the participants will be able to acquire better knowledge by actively participating in the session. Over to you, sir.
Okay, hope everyone can hear me properly. So thank you, Netmi. And first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Parakram and Dr. Godliadda for inviting me for this session, and also for Praveen and all other EEES members for organizing this wonderful talk series, Shape Up the Future Professionals. So yeah, let's start. So I'll switch off my video while I'm presenting the things. So then in the Q&A session, I'll switch on my video again. So hope you guys can hear me properly, right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Great. Okay, then start. So as a start, I will quickly tell you a little bit about myself. So as you now already know, like I'm Hasita Hewawasam. I'm also a graduate from Peradeniya University from Electrical and Electronic Engineering Department. I was in 09 batch, E09 batch. Then I did my MSc in Electrical and Electronic Engineering in Swinburne. Then currently I'm a full-time PhD student, like most of you guys. I'm doing my PhD in robotics in Federation University. So, and I'd like to share some of my work and research, the places that I work recently. So currently I'm working as a research assistant for Federation University. And also I have worked as a sessional academic for FedUni and also in Swinburne University. Then recently I finished 2 internship, one in like Australian postgraduate research internship, and the other one is in another startup business called as Distech. They are building a wonderful tool to screen the people who have dyslexia and dysgraphia. So I was in part of that project. Then I'm currently working as a project manager, business analysis, and a software engineer in ASEC Pro and Rhombus, as Praveen and our moderator mentioned. So those are the companies that we started. Not just me and another para graduate who is 2 years junior to me. Umesh is also he's also an electrical and electronic engineer. So although I have mentioned these nice names like titles for this, like in our my work titles in our startup businesses, I'm doing all other stuff, like I work as the driver, cleaner, accountant, and all clerical work. So we'll talk about those things at the end of this presentation, right? So although I call this as a presentation, I would rather keep it as a discussion, right? Otherwise, it's like talking to the screen would be a bit boring for me, and also will be a bit boring for you guys as well. So let's try to keep this as a discussion. So whenever you have questions, please stop me and ask. Okay. So yeah. So take this as a like friendly discussion. Okay. So, and whatever I'm telling in this talking in this discussion are like most of the things are my experiences, and if I say something, most of the time those are things like how I see them, like according to my point of view, I'm saying. So different people might have different ideas. So if you think this guy is saying something important, take it, otherwise just put it away. Okay. So in today's talk, or in our discussion, I would like to quickly go through some of the research projects that I'm currently working with. I thought of taking this as a warm-up session. So because most of you guys are young engineering undergraduates, so I hope you guys like to know what is happening in the field. So I'll try to share one of the unique projects that I'm currently involved in, and one fun project that I'm currently working as a freelancer again. So then I would like to talk a little bit about the career pathways, what you can do after your graduation. So whether you want to become an engineer straight away, or do you want to become an engineering research engineer, or whether you want to be an entrepreneur. So I have some experience in all three categories. So I would like to share some of my experiences with you. Then also we will talk a little bit about higher studies and higher study opportunities in Australia. And finally, in the last session, we'll talk about startup companies, or if you want to become a self-employed person, what are the challenges you have to face? What are the qualities you should have if you're thinking of starting up a business? So let's talk about those things. And if I have enough time, I will talk a little bit about how to convert your idea into a product, right? Let's see how this will go. And at the end, if you have enough energy to listen to me, so let's talk about that bit as well. So let's go for the first part. So I'll take you through this project. This project is called as Truck of the Future project. So we are working, like this project is formed by MaxiTrain and Australian federal government. So they have a plan to build a new truck, right? Which will have advantages that that the existing trucks have, and eliminated some of the inherited problems in traditional trucks. So trucks means, like we normally call containers in Sri Lanka, right? So this is a special type of truck. We call them as B doubles. So these ones are called as B doubles. So these are really long vehicles. So in this particular type, you can see it's like this is the prime mover, right? And this one is the first trailer, and this one is the second trailer. So you can see the first trailer is, it is around 7.5 meters, and second trailer is around 13.7 meters. So these are very long vehicles. Because of these vehicles are so long, when the prime mover is taking a turn like this, trailer one will follow a different path, follow a path like this. And trailer two comes in a totally different path, right? This makes safety problems plus so many other problems. So this thing is called as off tracking, or in the field, normally the truck is called this as corner cutting. So if I try to elaborate the problem again, right? Let's say if you have this type of truck running in an urban area, right? This truck is trying to take a turn, bro. You have the prime mover, you have the first trailer and another trailer, and you have two guys here trying to cross the road, right? So prime mover will nicely take the bend, nicely take the turn, while prime mover is going like this. First trailer will go on a path like this, and the second trailer will go over these people, and it's catastrophic. So this is the main problem that we're trying to solve. So we are trying to bring these paths more towards the path of the prime mover. So how are we going to do this? We are going to do it using a concept called virtual rail concept. This is not something I invented. This is invented by a professor called Ian Spark. He's a retired professor from our university, from Federation University. So he's also working with us on this project. So I will quickly explain you a little bit about the virtual rail concept, right? So virtual rail concept is like, try to use this figure to explain you. So in virtual rail concept, so this is our prime mover, this is our trailer 1, this is our trailer 2. In virtual rail concept, we nominate a point on the prime mover. This is a virtual point, and we call this as the master reference point. You can put it on anywhere on the prime mover, but there is a specific point that will give you the optimal result. Then similarly, on trailer 1, you will pick a point, and we call that point as the slave reference point. And on the trailer 2, also we nominate a point, and we call it as slave reference point. So slave reference point 1 on the trailer 1 and slave reference point 2 on trailer 2. Right. So what will happen if you have a normal trailer, when it is taking a bend, this is the path of the master reference point. If it's a normal trailer, the path of the first slave reference point would be like this, and path of the second slave reference point would be like this. So using our virtual rail concept, we can bring the path of the first virtual reference point on top of the path of the master reference point, and slave reference point 2 also onto the path of the master reference point, right? So by doing this, what we can achieve, once we shift those points onto the master reference path, we automatically force the trailer 1 and trailer 2 to follow the prime move. So how we can do this? To do this, we need to steer the rear wheels of the trailer. How we steer them? We steer them according to by a controller, which is running an algorithm, which is built based on the virtual rail concept. So my part in this project was to develop that control. So we developed the controller, and the virtual rail concept was in the concept level, hasn't tested much. So we had to model the prime movers. We had to model basically the trailers, normal trailers, and trailers that we are supposed to have in truck of the future. So with steerable wheel system, we model them, and we apply the newly developed control onto the trailers that can steer the rear wheels, and compare the results, like compare the off tracking results. So when we do this, I'll quickly show you a simulation. So this one is a simulation for a normal existing trucks and trailers. So you can see this, the green and yellow dots are showing you the path of the trucks front wheel and rear wheel, and black dots showing you the path of the first trailer's rear wheels, and blue dots are showing you the second trailer's rear wheel. So you can see they are going in 3 different paths, right? And there's a huge off tracking. For this particular setup, the maximum off tracking was recorded around 10 meters, right? So we developed these platforms using MATLAB. Then we did the same. We forced to take the same turn, but now we are using the we are using the improved trailers, which has steerable wheels, and also got the new controller. So when we check that, right? So by using the virtual rail concept, we could minimize the off tracking, right? So in this case, off tracking was recorded as around 3 meters. So it's a huge improvement. So if I summarize the test results, it's what we got. So it was a huge improvement. So it's around 70% of improvement. Like we have improved the off-tracking problem by 70%. This was the first phase of our project. After we prove this thing, now we recently got a grant called as Road Safety and Innovation Grant. It's a federal Australian federal grant. So around $200,000 to actually build the controller and put it in a real truck and test it in a in a controlled environment. So this project will run for another 2-3 years. So, and there will be even after this phase, there will be so many PhD opportunities coming up in this project. So who knows, one of you will be doing one of those PhDs in the future. So anyway, I'll quickly show you some figure photos. So this is the beast we are working with currently. And these are the trailers that we are working with. And yes, this is another controller that we built. This is nothing to do with the virtual rail thing. We put this inside the truck and collected a lot of data. This particular setup has gone all around Australia and worked for 3 months nonstop and collected data for our analysis. So this is the summary about the virtual rail principle and about the project that we are currently doing using the virtual rail principle. So if you guys have any questions and if you need more clarifications on these things, please ask now. So seems like no questions for that part. So I will continue. Share screen again. Okay. So okay, then let's go for the next project. This is not a big research project, but this is a freelance project that I'm currently doing. So this one we are developing a kind of a surveillance robot for African parks. So this project is not even in the prototype, not even close to the prototype design. But yeah, we are working with the African parks. African parks are, like they are non-profit organization. They are managing 19 national parks in Africa now. So looking after close to 15 million hectares. So they're protecting the parks, like park means like big jungles in Africa. So they're trying to protect elephants, rhinos, and so many other types of animals in those jungles and manage those parks. So they have a lot of problems from poachers. Poachers come into the parks and kill elephants and rhinos. So they need some help for the surveillance operations. And we are suggesting this type of a robot for them. So the project is still in the initial stage. We had the opportunity to like, there's one park called Panjari Park. They were happy to invest on our project and they're happy to buy like this type of robots, like 30 robots. So they are planning to invest on our project, and we plan to go to Panjari Park with the prototype in October. Due to this COVID things, we had to delay the thing. So without talking much about this one, I would like to show you a video about Gus. So let me take that on. So can you guys see the screen or?
Yes, we can see.
Great. Hope you can hear the sound as well.
No, sir,
Okay.
it's not audible yet.
Great. Can you hear it clearly?
A ground unmanned system.
Yeah, no, it's
remote
audible.
mobile radio repeater and observation. It's designed for use in protected areas with rugged terrain, harsh climates, limited communication infrastructure, and few trained personnel. It's ultimately designed to reduce logistic, manpower, and training burdens, and increase situational awareness. Gus is simple to transport, with 4 systems able to fit on a standard land cruiser tray. A single operator, with the aid of the supplied ramps, can offload Gus. It can then be escorted into the observation post location and given areas to watch over. Gus has a UHF repeater with the antenna on the rear deck and the radio itself located inside. For Gus Phase 1, a Spectra engineering model was used, but any type of radio repeater can be incorporated. You can rapidly establish a communications bubble in previously remote parts of the protected area with the use of multiple Gus to daisy chain communications across large areas. When also used as an observation post, Gus can look over obstacles such as bushes and fences, thus hiding the majority of the vehicle from view. The vehicle has an artificial intelligence system that controls the cameras and processes the footage. For example, this 36x optical zoom camera has been tasked to detect people or vehicles and rapidly tracks these once detected. Additionally, there's a 4K wider perspective camera. Here you can see in the distance some poachers approaching from the left. Mounted coaxially to the 4K camera is a thermal camera that allows the system to confirm that these moving objects have their own heat source. For close-in situational awareness, there's a standalone AI camera that can be set to alarm and flash if anyone gets too close. Phase 1 had just one of these, but all future models would have 4 to allow all-round protection. Gus can be given specific instructions to trigger the drone capability. For example, if the AI detects people, the drone bay is opened and the drone is elevated out of the bay. The AI then computes a path to the detection site and back before launching the drone. In this instance, the desired effect was to startle any would-be poachers and make them flee as they realize that they have been detected. What they do not realize is that there are no rangers nearby. The drone then returns to Gus to recharge and download its footage for analysis. All the various feeds are processed by the AI to give a degree of confidence about what has been observed, and then a simple text assessment can be sent via a number of options located in the turret, including Garmin InReach satellite text, the LoRa low-power wide area network protocol, or 4G mobile network, depending on the protected area and available infrastructure. This text is received by GeoSuite as an alert, giving the type and quality of detection and what sensors were part of the detection. In this case, the optical zoom camera did the initial detect, with subsequent confirmation from the others ticked here. An electric fence is fitted around the top of the deck to help deter wildlife from damaging the vehicle. Gus has an average of 7 days endurance, powered by a lithium battery and a quiet generator with 2 exhaust ports. The generator can be tasked to run either at specific times of day or night, or when the battery drops to a certain level.
Okay, that's the video. So hope you guys saw the video. Praveen, could you see the video?
Yeah, we saw it clearly.
Okay, so that was about the project Gus. So this is not even close to the, not even close to the prototype design. We plan to do the prototype. We plan to finish the prototype in August, but due to all these COVID things, the project is delayed. Yeah, so we'll talk about project Gus like in the Q&A session. I feel like it's easy to ask questions like after finishing the talk. So let's quickly move into the main part of today's talk. So what you can do after your graduation, right? What are the career pathways you have? So just after your graduation, I see like 3 possible options, right? So first one is you can start your career as an engineer after, like, as a majority of you are para graduate, and most of you are going to be para graduates, and you're going to be electrical and electronic engineer. So as electrical and electronic engineers, there are a lot of job opportunities for you in Sri Lanka and all around the world. So you can start your career as an electrical engineer, you can start your career as an electronics engineer, or even as a telecommunication engineer, or system engineer, automation engineer. I can give you a huge list. Or yes, you can work as a software engineer as well. So our undergraduate degree covers a lot of parts, like some subjects that I did in my undergrads. I feel sometimes they are equal to some of the subjects that I did in my MSc. So our undergraduate degree covers a lot of material, right? So you can easily fit into any of these engineering jobs. So yes, currently we are like in our company, like in our startup company, we are working as software engineers. And if I talk about Umesh a bit, he's working in Australia as a software engineer. His first degree is about electrical and electronics. So that's the case. So I see this option as a very safe option, right? But this is what we all, if we think in the traditional way, we all want to start a job in a company and work as an engineer. It makes sense, right? You start the job, you'll get a salary. You know at the end of the month how much you're going to earn. As soon as you graduate, you start earning, and you can build a house, buy a car, and start a stable family life. So it makes sense if most of you pick this option. Yes, from my experience, I know like 90% of you will pick this option. So it's not a bad option. So when I was doing my undergraduate studies, I also had the same plan. Like, although I'll share my experience later. So I also had the same plan, like become an engineer and join to a big company and start climbing the corporate ladder, start as an junior engineer and become a general manager in a company, right? That was my plan as well. But I'm not the best person to tell you how to climb this ladder because I just started. I stopped my career as an electrical engineer very soon. But I can tell you exactly how to get this first job easily. Because when I graduated, even before graduating, I had 2 job offers. And after graduation, I had 3 more job offers, right? First one, I worked for a company. I started working there in my 3rd year as a part-timer. Actually, like Dr. Janaka Vijay Kulasurya, and I had a very good friend. He's 2 years senior to me, working there. So with their connection, I start working for that company in my 3rd year, right? Then I got another job offer in a very prestige company in Sri Lanka, a big company. We did a lot of freelancing projects when we were in 2nd year, 3rd year, and final year. There was a like small group. We did freelancing projects for industry. We did a lot of fun projects, and we also did some projects for industry. So we used to work for this company a lot. So because of that, we even directly work with the general manager in the company. So we had contacts, and based on these things, I got the second job offer even before I got graduated. This is not only for me. Other guys who work with me, like there were 2-3 guys work with me, they also got the same offer, right? Then after the graduation, I think after the graduation, no, very close to the graduation, we had our job fair. You also will have. So from job fair, I got another 3 more job offers, right? So yeah, so like the best offer I got was like 93,000 rupees plus petrol allowance and accommodation. I didn't pick this option, but I picked something else. I don't think that is the smartest thing I did. But however, I picked a different option and start the career as an electrical engineer and just work a couple of months, and I was not happy doing that, right? So then I stopped. Then I'll tell you what I did, but I will tell you how I got these 4 offers. I didn't have to go after jobs, right? I didn't have to do a job hunt. So things came so easily for me, not only for me, all the people in our group, like all the people who did all these freelancing projects with me. So all of the story was same for them as well. So what I want to highlight here is, like, if you want to get your first job easily, I know all of you will get a job, right? It's just a matter of time. But if you want to get a job easily, yes, first thing, yes, you should, yes, work on your like study and get good grades. That's important. But I personally feel like that this is not the only thing helped me to get these jobs, right? I think mainly the things helped me was the projects that I did, right? So we did lots of projects, lots of freelancing projects, lots of hobby projects, which gave us a lot of hands-on experience, right? So industry highly appreciated this. So if you go and work in the industry, I think you should have good engineering knowledge. That is obvious. People might say, no, you don't need. Whatever you learn in the university will not be helpful. I don't believe that. Whatever you learn in the university, the fundamental things, like maybe not the grades, but the fundamental theories you learn will distinguish like you and a technical officer, right? You, to do things that a technical officer can't do, you should need that fundamental knowledge. So whatever you learn in the university is very important, right? Then the hands-on skills you have. So how you get it? Like if you are a normal undergraduate, you will do just 2 or 3 projects in this all 4 years, which will not give much of, the practical exposure you need, right? So do a lot of projects that will help you. And also it will make some good network in the industry. And even before you get graduated, industry will know about you, right? So second thing is like, yes, industry will appreciate your hands-on skills and the projects you do. And the third thing I would say is your management skills, right? I don't believe, right, you get good management skills, human resource management or normal basic management skills by doing a management subject. It will help you to learn a couple of theories. But for me personally, what helped me to get some good management skills was from the work that I did for societies, like societies and clubs. Like we used to work for the Inventors Club. We used to work for the Robotics Society. We even started the Robotics Society. And even like Praveen and other guys in EES, I also used to be part of the EES as well. So those things unknown, you don't know, but it will develop some good management skills in you. So do all these extracurricular activities as well. So if you do a sport, don't stop, do them. Industry will highly appreciate those things, right? So it's not just the degree. Degree is important. What you study is very important, but focus on those things as well. So these things will definitely help you to get your first job, right? You will not have to do a job hunt. People will come and ask you to join their company, right? So I know all of you guys have that potential. So work towards them. Like you can't do like 40, 50 projects in 4th year. So I'm telling this to the guys who are in 2nd year, 3rd year, start doing some like fun stuff. Enjoy what you learn. Like build small stuff, like do some hobby projects, enjoy what you learn, right? So especially when Dr. Parakram asked me to deliver this talk, initially I asked from him, what should I say, sir? Like, then he specially asked me to talk about those things, like share my experiences in this area, what we did in the undergraduate time. So I just opened my old laptop and I went to a folder. There was a folder called My Project. So when I go there, I saw this list. So then I start counting. So there were more than 50 projects that I did during my undergrad time, right? So these projects took a lot of time. I might lose, like I might not be able to get the best GPA, right? But I did all these things which will pay me off really well at the end of my degree, right? So although I didn't have a first class or anything, like I had just a second upper, but I think I had a good, like, industry recognized me really well. So that's why I got this of like 4 or 5 job opportunities. This is not only for me. My friend who like worked with me on these projects, he also got the same thing. Like now he's a big guy in, he's working in a big company in Singapore and earning a lot of money, like working as a senior engineer, like bunch of engineers working under him now. So yeah, so if someone is targeting on this option, yeah, that is good. Yeah, do those things. Okay, so then the next one is higher studies. So so I see this as a great investment. So if someone is planning to go for higher studies, don't think twice. Try your best and do that. During my undergrad time, I didn't have any plans to do higher studies, but somehow the things happened around me. Like I thought of going for higher studies. I think that is a very good decision I made in my life. Initially, when I started my master's degree, I was not so happy about my decision, but today I'm really happy about the decision that I made of doing higher studies, right? So because like, yes, you might not start earning straight after your graduation because you're not doing a job. You might invest another 5-6 years of your life, right, doing higher studies, right? But it will pay you off, right? So for higher studies, what are the options you got? Basically, you have 3 options. You can do a MSc, so MSc by coursework, or you can do a MSc by research, or you can straight away go for a PhD. All these 3 options are open for a para graduate, para electrical and electronic engineering graduate, right? You can directly go and do a PhD. No problem, no one will stop you, right? So if you are planning to do higher studies, you have to focus on 2 things mainly. First thing, so your GPA. Try to maintain an extremely good GPA. Try to get a first class, right? Work hard, do your exams well, and get a good GPA, right? Then the second thing, do publications. Publish a lot of research papers, right? As much as you can. So if we talk about publications, you have 2 options, right? You can publish conference papers or you can publish journal papers, right? If you can publish a good journal paper, you will easily find a PhD scholarship. But in a top journal, if you publish a paper in a top journal, when you don't have the best GPA, still you will have a good chance of getting a good PhD scholarship, right? So try to publish as much as you can, right? I suggest at least publish 1 paper, at least for your final year project, right? Even when I was doing my final year project, right, as Dr. Parakrama mentioned you, I work with Dr. Parakrama, Dr. Godli Adda, and Dr. Janaka Vijayakula Surya, and Dr. Himal. So we finish our project. We really enjoy our final year project. We did it, we finished it, even like we did more than we expected to do at the beginning. So it was a very successful project. We did not only finish the project, but also we had to, our supervisors forced us to write a paper. I was so upset, right? Because all other people, once they finished the project, they were happy, they were chilling, right? They were partying and all. We have to work on a research paper. I was so annoyed, but we had to do it because our supervisors forced us to do. They did the right thing, right? This research, that was the one and only research paper I had before my PhD. This one conference paper helped me a lot to get my PhD. So I'm giving you the advice now. So if you are targeting to go in the higher study area, publish papers as much as you can, right? Even publish one for your third year project, right? So yeah, publish many papers as you can and try to maintain a good GPA. So that's the advice I can give you for the people who look for higher studies. Then we'll talk about this thing in detail, right? I will just explain what you can do after your higher studies, right? So after your higher studies, especially if you do a master's by research, most of the students I have seen in my uni, people who start the master's as research, they'll do a PhD, right? And end up their university life as a PhD graduate. And I also have seen people who have started the PhD and stop it in the middle and finish it as a convert it to a master's by research. So this is not the way you should do. If you start it as a PhD, finish it as a PhD. And if you start your higher studies as a master's by research, yeah, do convert it to a PhD and finish it off. And once you finish this, once you finish your PhD, you will become an independent researcher, right? You will become an independent researcher. So once you become an independent researcher, there are two main jobs you can do. You can stay in the academic field, or you can work in a R&D lab, right? There are research and development labs in most of the big companies. They got their own R&D labs. So you can work as a research engineer, right? And also, like, if you do a master's by coursework, still you can finish the master's and do your PhD, or you can do the master's and you can start working as an engineer. That is not the best way to do, but there is an option like that. And also I recommend, right, if you pick this option, if you want to start your job as an engineer, still I would recommend go and do the MSc. I think in our university in Pera, now we have the opportunity to do a MSc, right? You don't have to go abroad, right? So do the MSc. That I have heard from my friends that if you have a MSc, it will help you to climb this ladder and get into this top position, right? So you might start your engineering job with the salary of this. And I told you, like, I have worked with some general managers directly. So I know people who are taking 3 million, right? 1.5 million to 3 million per month, right? There are general managers taking this much of salary. So if you start, target finishing it as a general manager, right? So doing MSc again will help you to climb this corporate ladder, okay? Okay, then the third option is you can become a self-employed person, right? It means you work for yourself, right? You're not working for anyone else, you're working for yourself, right? This, I feel this is the first step towards a startup, right? You start your career as a self-employed person, then you can start a new business, and you can be a entrepreneur, right? And the people who think a little bit differently from the traditional thinking line, right, will come to this point. Like, they will become self-employed person, they'll start a business, they'll become entrepreneurs, and they will create opportunities for others, right? I highly encourage you guys, if there's at least, like, yeah, 90% of you will pick this option, right? Maybe 9% of you will pick this one. There will be less than 1% will pick this one. Yes, it makes sense because there's high risk involved there in this option. But if you get successful, the reward is really high, right? Not only that, you are also creating opportunities for other people, right? So, and as engineers, like as cream of the country, you are the people who should take this challenge, right? And get to this, right? Because a lot of people are doing this, right? So there should be at least if 10% of your batch does this, right? It will create a lot of opportunities in the society in 5-6 years time, right? So take the challenge. You have the potential to be successful. So take the risk, take the challenge, and pick this option, right? There are like, you don't have to straight away take this risk, right? Even if you start your career as an engineer, right? This is what I suggest, right? Yes, you start your career as an engineer. If you go in the traditional line, what you can do, yes, you can start building a house or buy a car, and start living like a normal like traditional engineer, right? Or you have another option, right? You start doing your job, get good experience in the field, right? Whatever the job you are doing, if you start your career as an automation engineer, yeah, go deep into what you do and get the knowledge, and also from you get a salary, right? You start building the capital, right? Save some portion of your salary and build a good capital. Don't use it to buy a house or a car, right? You have to sacrifice some of these things, build a good capital, then you can straight away start a business, right? Why I'm saying, like, if you are an undergrad, right, don't straight away go and do a startup company. I did that mistake, right? Because to start a company and keep it stable, right, you need a good capital. You need some good backup money, right? If you don't have it, don't straight away jump and do a startup business, right? So in my case, I had good contacts when I finished my degree, right? I had good industrial contacts, so I thought I can get projects, and we had a good team as well. We thought we can do it and we can become successful, right? But that was not the case, right? So yes, if I go back again, like, if you want to start your career as an engineer, yes, work, earn some capital, save some money, and use it, invest in on a new business, right? And when you work as an engineer in that field, if you take automation, if you work as an automation engineer, after a couple of years time, after 2-3 years time, you will be very good in that field, right? So you have the knowledge, and in 3 years time, you have saved some money, and in 3 years time, you have good contacts with the people in the industry. So you can start a good business. You can start it in a stable way, right? And for the people who are going for higher studies, right? Let's say they are doing PhDs or MScs. So if they do a PhD, right, and they will become independent researchers, right? Once you become an independent researcher, you have very high value. You can work as a consultant, right? So you can work as a consultant. You can have your independent solo business, right? You go to companies and give your consultation and help them to solve their problems, right? So you can become a self-employed person, earn some money, start a business, become an entrepreneur, create opportunities for the people in the society, right? So although you pick this path or this path, if you want, you can end up coming to this one, right? You can end up starting a new business. So be courageous, take the challenge, and if you feel like doing this, don't keep a step back. Plan, you have to struggle a couple of years, but you will definitely see the light. If you have the courage and if you have the quality of never giving up, you will see the light. Okay, so I quickly think I took a lot of time, so I'll quickly move to the next part, like higher studies in Australia. So if someone is planning to come to Australia for their higher studies, again, all the 3 options that I mentioned before are available in Australia. You can do a MSc by coursework. MSc by coursework means, again, you are doing something similar to what you do in your undergrads, right? You have to, like, teachers will come and do lectures. Then you have assignments, you have tutorials, you have courseworks, and you have exams. So it is little bit of advanced version of what you are doing now in the uni, right? Then the other option is MSc by research. So MSc by research and PhD are little bit similar. Both of the cases you are doing a research, but MSc by research, I can say it's a mini version of a PhD, right? So if I talk about the MSc by coursework a little bit in detail, right? Normally in Australia, you have 2.5-year courses or 2-year courses, right? You can start your MSc in electrical and electronic engineering, or even in a management field, right? So if you want to get into a university and do a MSc in Australia, first, yes, you obviously have to finish your bachelor's degree. Then second thing, they test your English knowledge, right? There are a couple of exams you can do. There's an exam called IELTS. I hope you guys have heard about it. There's an exam called PTE, and there are so many other exams, TOEFL, and many. These are the 2 most commonly used exams in Australia to show your English knowledge, right? So there are, if you take these exams, there are 4 sections in this exam. Right? There's a section for writing, speaking, listening, and reading. So for each part, you have to take certain amount of marks to get into the uni. This is easy. I hope you all can easily get those marks. So if you have the degree and the English qualifications, and once you prove that you have the capacity to pay the tuition fee, you can get into a MSc degree by coursework. So the bad part about this degree is, yes, you have to pay the tuition fee. In undergrads, there's a cost for our studies, but as we all know, like all the other Sri Lankans pay our tuition fee, right? But in Australia, Australians are not happy to pay our tuition fee, right? So in other words, like, we have a huge responsibility. After you graduate, you have to do some work to your country, right? Anyway, so that's the case. That's something about the MSc by coursework. Not a bad option, but I would say this is not the best option. If you are targeting higher studies, this is not the best option. Pick this one or this, right? So I'll talk about MSc by research in a minute, but first of all, I'll talk about the PhD, right? Yeah, before going to PhD, I forgot to mention you something. So even there's a tuition fee for MSc by coursework. If you finish your first degree or your undergrad degree well, they might give you maybe 10 to 20% scholarship, right? Based on your results. So, okay, now let's go back to the PhDs. So in PhDs, right, most of the time, people do a PhD with a scholarship, right? There are 3 types of scholarships available in Australia, right? Mainly 3 types of scholarships. First one is you get a scholarship and it will pay your tuition fee. Okay, it will pay your tuition fee. And also you get a stipend, which will which will pay your bills. Like it will help you to pay your rent and other living expenses. So this is, I would say this is the best scholarship you can get, because you get a scholarship to pay your tuition fee, and you also get a stipend, which will help you to pay your bills. So you just have to focus on your PhD. You don't have to worry about earning money. So everything will be covered by your scholarships, right? Then the second type is you will get a scholarship, and that will pay your tuition fee. But for your living, university will arrange some work. Like you can work as a research assistant or as a sessional academic in the university, and you work for the uni, and uni will pay you, and that will help you to manage your living expenses. And if you are good at managing your money, you might be able to save some money as well, right? So second option is also a good option, but only the bad part is like you have to spend some time which you are planning to put on your PhD on working for university. But the good part of it is like when you're graduating, you have some experience as a researcher, you have some industrial connections, and also you have some teaching experiences, because once you start working as a sessional academic, it's more like an instructor in our camp in Pera. But the good thing is, like if you are doing a PhD, sometimes if you're helping your supervisor to do some teaching work, so he might give you opportunity to deliver some lectures and help him to make some course material. So those things will give some additional experience for you. So because as I told you before, like there's one option. Once you finish your PhD, you can work in the academic field, right? So when you are getting into a university, like into the academic field, these are good things, like having some teaching experience and research experience, right? Then the third type is, right? Third type is you will get a scholarship to pay your tuition fee, but you will not get anything to, you have to look after yourself, right? You have to figure out a way to pay your rent and other living expenses. So yeah, like you can do a part-time job in Australia, or your family might be able to help you. So those are the three scholarship opportunities available for a PhD in Australia. So normally in Australia, like there's a like minimum you have to do 3 years. Your PhD should run minimally for 3 years. It's a minimum period. Sometimes it might go for 5 years, right? I have seen people doing have not even finished their PhD in 5 years, right? Then the other important thing is, like, you should be very, very careful when you are picking your thesis topic, right? Because in our undergrads, we learn about a lot of things, right? Then when you go for a PhD, you pick a small area and go deep in that area, right? So if you pick an area which you don't like, you end up working in an area that you don't like for 3 years. You will end up doing it for 5 years. If you don't like, it will be a nightmare. And if you pick some area that you really like, PhD, you will enjoy the PhD, right? Most of the people say, if you are doing a PhD, yes, it is too hard and you will permanently damage your head, right? Because you might go crazy. That's true. If you pick something you don't like, and in that small area you have to stuck for 3 to 5 years, yeah, you will end up having some problems, right? But on the other hand, if you pick your PhD research topic in an area that you love, you will enjoy your PhD. Trust me. That was the case for me. So I will share one experience, right? I finished my master's in Swinburne University, right? I knew one professor there who taught us in our MSc degree, and after finishing my MSc, he helped me to I spoke with him, and there was a PhD opportunity, right, to do under him. But that PhD was about electrical motors. Like electrical side, I didn't like the electrical part very much. But that project was interesting, but I kept it aside. Then I got the second option from Fed Uni. It was about robotics, right? Robotics is the field that I like most. I started building robots when I was like in grade 10, 11. I started building small circuits when I was in grade 5, 6. So this field, I like this field. I had a better scholarship in this one, in the electrical motor project. And it was in the university that I did my master's. So I know the place. I knew the professor as well. But in this one, for the robotics project, I had to move out from the city. It was a different, it was a different university. And the supervisors, I have never ever worked with them. Yes, yeah. So in Swinburne, at those days, I had a job in Swinburne as well. So I gave up all those things. I took the risk and moved to the new uni just to do my PhD research in robotics, because that's the area that I like to do. I like to work, right? So, and it paid off me really well. The taking that risk paid me off really well. I did my PhD like last 3 years. I didn't have any problems. Like I enjoy doing my PhD. So I ended up like publishing 5. I already have published 5 conference papers on my PhD and 2 journal papers. One of them in in a IEEE transaction. So, and I have 2 more IEEE transaction papers under review and doing 1 more journal paper as well. So I'm finishing my PhD right in 3 years time. Hopefully it will go well, and with at least with 10 publications. So I'm so happy about the decision I made. So even I had to take a risk to move to a different uni and do my PhD. But what I want to highlight here is like, yeah, pick the PhD topic wisely, right? Pick something you like. Okay. So the MSc is, as I told you, is a mini version of the PhD. So normally it runs for 1.5 years to 2 years. But the bad thing about the MSc by research is like scholarship opportunities are very minimal in Australia, right? So if you want to do a MSc, finding a scholarship is a bit hard, right? There are so many scholarships for PhDs, but very limited number of scholarships are available for MSc. Okay, so we'll talk. You can ask some other, like whatever the questions you have at the end. So let's move on to the next part. So for startup companies, right? As I told you, like just after graduation, you have like first step towards the startup business should be you can start as a self-employed person, right? So because to start a business, you need a capital, right? So start your career as a self-employed person. For an example, become a CNC programmer, go to some big companies and do some CNC programming for them, right? And build your capital, right? Once you have enough capital, then you can start a business. Or straight away you can start a business. Pick like if you want to develop an software platform or something like that, you don't need a lot of money. You don't need a big capital, right? So, or you can start a business in the software industry. Or as I told you before, like you can start your career as an engineer, then you can transform into a self-employed or into a startup business, and you can become entrepreneur. Similarly, once you become a researcher, also still the path is open. But if you are going to be self-employed, or if you are going to run a startup business, make sure you like what you do and you are passionate about what you are going to do. And you should be innovative, right? If there's something and that is a problem for all other people, but that problem should be, you should see that problem as an opportunity for you, right? You should think about that problem in an innovative way, right? And give a solution to that problem. So you should be basically innovative. What I believe is, right, if you start a business, right, you are looking at a profit, right? If you try to do something that others have already done, you might be still able to get some profit, but you will not be able to get the super profit, right? To get the super profit, you should do something new, something creative, right? So you have to think out of the box. And always, if you want to create something new, right, you always have to challenge the existing knowledge base, right? In the university and when you are doing your higher studies and all, learn, right? Learn the things, learn the fundamentals well, but don't worship them, right? Don't think they are the only ways to solve a problem. Learn them well and challenge the existing knowledge, right? Then you will become innovative, you will become creative, you will see things differently. Otherwise, you will start seeing things as all others see that particular thing, right? If you want to see it in a different direction, challenge the existing knowledge and be creative, right? Okay. And the next thing is you should not be afraid to fail, because if you are going on this line, if you're going on this path, it's a huge challenge you are taking and you should know what you are doing, right? So if you have a startup business, there are so many ways that you can screw up your business. If you do a small mistake, because they are not very stable, right? At the beginning, a business is not very stable. So if you do a small mistake, you will end up losing everything, right? And that will happen. That has happened to me so many times, right? But don't afraid to fail, right? If you fail, that's okay. That is a lesson for your life, right? Next time, don't do that mistake. And always talk with the people who have started businesses, right? They will definitely share with you like what are things they did wrong, and don't do those things when you start a business. Okay, then you should be a self-driven person. In a job, you have your boss, right? He will tell you what to do, what not to do. And even if you're doing a PhD, you have a supervisor. He will guide you in for a certain extent. But if you become a self-employed person, or if you start a business, you are the person who should guide you, right? There won't be anybody to tell you what to do and what not to do, right? You should weigh and you should pick what to do and what not to do. And if you want to sleep 2 days, you can. If you think today's I don't want to work today, no one will ask you to work, right? But if you go like that, you'll definitely end up in a bad spot, right? So you should be a self-driven person. And again, like, you should not afraid to take risks, right? But the risk that you take should be a smart risk, right? You should be smart when you're taking a risk. For an example, right? Initially, like I told you, like I start my career as an engineer and gave up my job in a couple of months' time. Then I had a startup company called H2 Customized Machines. It went well for a couple of months. Like I did small project, and I was earning some money. And then I got a good opportunity. I got the opportunity to make a big machine, right? Which came up with a good money. I took the risk, and I put whatever I have earned on that project and completed the project, even apply for a patent, still it is going. But the product was good, but in business point of view, it didn't work out well. So So basically I got bankrupt. That was one of the reasons that I had to go for my higher studies and come to Australia, right? But yes, you will fail, right? But if you have the passion, you'll start again, right? You'll start again. That's what I did again, right? After coming here, we started the startup business. We tried so many things in Australia as well, but initially most of the things didn't work. But you should never refuse. You should refuse to give up, right? You should refuse to give up. So you will fail, but you should refuse to give up, right? For an example, right? The current project that we are doing, it is going well now. At the moment, we're going extremely well. To get the first, to get this project, right? We had to pitch our idea to maybe 10 different people. They reject our idea straight away, right? Straight away reject, right? Because like two students in Australia, not even Australians, coming to our company and they say they can do this, they can solve this problem, they have this idea. So nobody was ready to take that, right? Then we found another person. This person also had a startup business, right? Now he's a millionaire in Australia. Then we pitch our idea to him, right? Initially, he also refused to take our idea, but after 8 months of negotiation, he was happy to invest on our project. So during these 8 months, right? For some meetings, I had to drive 400 kilometers up and down just for 30 minutes meeting, right? And I did that for 8 months. During these 8 months, right, we developed some stuff. We spent a lot of time on this project, but like we never got a good answer for during that 8 months. We could have easily stopped. Sometimes I also feel like what I'm doing, I'm wasting a lot of time. I should have put this time on my PhD, or I can do something else and earn some money. But if you are fascinated about what you do, it will help you to stay in the process. If I gave up after 5 months, I would not have the benefits that I'm having today, right? So always refuse to give up. So you should have that quality, and you should have the knowledge which all of you have, all our undergraduates. Once you get graduated, you have enough knowledge to start a business, right? You have the enough, you have the enough potential, and you have the enough background knowledge to some work. So, and if you love, the main thing is you should love to learn, right? You have the knowledge, but you should love to learn new things, right? Because if you are going to build a new product, there might be areas that you don't know, so you have to learn, right? Do you know the best thing you get out of your degree? You might get a first class, second upper, second lower, or you just have a basic degree, but all of you have something. What is that? You, during these 4 years time, you will learn how to understand a theory and apply it to a problem and solve that problem, right? So you will develop that skill, all of you, right? So if you love to learn, you can learn any new thing, right? You can learn any new thing, and you can use that to solve a problem, right? So this is not a problem for you guys. So knowledge, and you have the capacity. Only thing is you should love to learn. So if you have that attitude, if you like to learn, you can do it, right? This thing, maybe others do not have, right? This skill, we especially get this skill because we are doing an engineering degree, and we are doing an intense course in Peradeniya University. Our course is very intense course. We are doing so much work. You're learning so many theories. You can't get your degree if you don't have that quality. If you don't know how to learn a theory, apply it and solve a problem. So I can guarantee you all have that thing. So if you, as long as you like to learn, you can learn anything, right? And you should have good networking skills, right? You should be able to talk with people and, you know, have good relationships with them. And yes, obviously you should be able to work long hours. You should be a hardworking guy, right? There's no any like 8 hours per day. I work only 8 hours. If you have that attitude, you won't be successful, because initial phase of a startup business, you have to work so hard, right? For an example, in my case, now we are doing our business, we are getting some money, but we are not using it for our like day-to-day expenses. We have some people working for us, we pay them, but we don't, for the work we do, we don't take any money. So I'm working in the university part-time. I'm doing my PhD full-time. Umesh also, on the other hand, he also doing his job full-time. So both of us are basically working at least 18 hours a day. So literally last Friday, I start working at 1 p.m. Then I sat in front of my computer at 1 p.m. and stand up from like stop working at 3 p.m. So I started on Friday and stopped my work on Saturday. So I was literally working 22 hours in one go. How I work? Did I feel tired? Physically, I feel tired, but mentally, no. All the work I did, I enjoyed, right? So why? Because I was fascinated about what I'm doing, right? So if you want to do this, yes, you should have the courage to do like 2 long hour shifts, right? Work long, right? So this is the key essence, right? If you are fascinated and if you like what you are doing, you will be able to do it, right? Then finally, you should be a good seller. You should be able to sell your ideas and your products, right? Although you have brilliant ideas, and if you can build brilliant products, right? But if you can't sell your product or your idea, it's pretty hard to be successful in this field, right? So how to become a good seller, right? What I believe is, first thing, you should be honest with your client, right? Because nobody like to do business if you are trying to manipulate someone, right? How long you can do it? You'll do it for 1 month, 2 months, and the person will know that you are manipulating him. So that's not a good thing. Be honest with them, right? Talk the truth, right? Be transparent. That will help you to win their hearts, and you will have a good bonding, right? And people will trust you. Once people trust you, they'll take your products, right? So that is the first one thing that I can give you. Be honest, right? Be honest with your clients. And yeah, there are so many other things, right? You should be flexible. You should be self-motivated. You should be competitive. You should be, and another one thing that I haven't put here, you should be patient. You should be patient, right? You should have the patience, because most of the time what I have seen is like people work so hard to a certain point and they stop here, right? But if they work that hard for another little bit of time, they'll achieve their goals. But people always stop here. I also have stopped a couple of times, like here, right? Tried so hard, then at the last minute you give up. If you work hard for a little bit more, you will achieve it, right? Even the current project that we are doing, we felt like we thought like this is enough. We are not getting anything out of it. We will stop it. We didn't have like, we were almost there. Like we have almost touched our limits of the patients, right? So if you have enough patients to wait and see your success, yes, that is also important, right? So I think I took a lot of time from you, so I'll skip this part. So how to convert your idea to a product. So in the Q&A session, I will, if someone wants to know these things, I will quickly tell you, right? So that's all I want to discuss with you today. So now it's over to you to ask questions